is my babushka presentation. So I chose the Circle of Life theme because I kind of take you through a look at Merrimack's School of Education and Social Policy from beginning to end, kind of like the full circle from behind the scenes to where we are now and that type of thing. So first, before we're even students here, you don't realize all the marketing that goes on to kind of get the program out there. So I did what's called micro-targeting. So I created a bunch of email lists, for example, like student affairs professionals, so directors of student activities, VPs of student affairs at all colleges in Massachusetts, Southern New Hampshire, because they'll be able to forward the information about our fellowships to students that are involved. Same thing with compiled lists of education department chairs in Massachusetts so they can help advertise our teacher education fellowship. So that's just one way before we're even students here that the kind of circle of life is born. So we're lifted up above the rock. And then, so once we're kind of marketed to, and hopefully we're going on the websites, maybe social media, we start doing marketing via social media. So I did these posts about us so that people are interested in the program can maybe read what it's like to be a fellow. We did some paid likes, and then eventually I, started posting when our followers or our likers were online the most. So that's kind of how I developed it. Tried to learn maybe like some social media strategies, how to post when most of our people are on there to get the most kind of reach and things like that. And it ended up working. Got almost 2,500 on some of our reaches for our posts. And then once people are interested in the program and they're applying, there's a lot of work that goes into answering inquiries about the program, things like that, attending open houses and online chats, updating all the website information. So again, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that as an applicant you don't realize is going on, but it's all important to getting us here. And then it kind of culminates on interview day. So that's something I learned. Again, a lot of work goes into that. It takes months of planning, because you're coordinating with all the sites and both the students and things like that. So it takes a lot of coordination, working with the team and things like that. So then shifting a little bit to the undergraduates, that was kind of our circle of life. But the undergrads, I learned a lot about the MTELs and teaching license for Massachusetts. These are our 5 concentrations in the School of Ed. Just what you'd expect: elementary, middle school, high school, early childhood, which is preschool and kindergarten, and then moderate disabilities. So MTEL stands for Massachusetts Test for Educators License. You need it if you want to teach pre-K through high school in Massachusetts. And it includes a communication literacy test along with subject matter knowledge tests. Depending on whether you want to do middle school or high school, you have to take different tests and things like that. Another large part of my fellowship this year has been advising KDP, which is the International Honor Society for Education. It's got more than 620 chapters nationwide. One of the things we did was we did a service trip to Haverhill Daycare. We donated books and read to kids to promote literacy because that's one of our values. So I learned a lot advising this student group. It's pretty new. It was just not even a year old. It was established last spring. So a lot of what I did was kind of trying to establish some foundation to get get some stability within the group. So we came up with some eligibility requirements. What do you need to be in the group? How much should chapter dues be? Things like that. So we came up with and established 3.5 GPA. You need to have at least 20 credits at Merrimack, 12 within the School of Education, and be a rising junior or senior. And it's different at every school. Some do a 3.75, but we thought a 3.5 was fair enough. But anyway, the point is that we kind of establish this foundation so that it can be solid for years to come. And another thing I did was plan induction ceremonies. So this is another thing, you don't realize how much goes into it until you actually do it. But you've got to find eligible members, so you need to contact the registrar. You need to look through their SAgrad, the GPAs, and the amount of credits. You got to create programs, order the cords from the national site, the pins, the certificates, and things like that. Of course, you got to make sure you get a cake to celebrate. And you also got to keep in line with the national site to make sure that they're up to date with the members, that your members are paying the national dues so that they can get their, they get like journals from the national site and things like that. They're also eligible for scholarships and things. Another thing I've been doing is I've been doing academic advising with the undergraduates. So I've learned about the extensive requirements for education students because, for example, Students only have 3 electives in their 4 years, like 3 open spots, because they have requirements for education, they have requirements for the liberal arts core, and they have requirements for their subject matter knowledge. So here's an example of what a history student would have to take. This is just for a student that wants to be like a history high school teacher. You got to take these 11 courses. That doesn't include the 11 or 12 courses that you got to take for education, and then all the courses that may be left out that you have to do for the liberal arts core. So that's just an example of what they go through, and the important role as academic advisors within the School of Ed, because there's really no margin of error for students in the School of Ed. You know, if you take a couple classes that don't count or don't double dip in certain things, then you may have to do a 5th year. And that's what many students end up doing, is they end up doing the fellow teacher ed fellowship here to get their 5th year, get their license and things like that. So something I experienced and I learned is multitasking, just because I think we all have to learn that at some point, but I've gotten assignments from my supervisor, different faculty to work on different things, the dean, and then obviously helping students. So something I learned is you just got to learn how to prioritize and things like that. And I know this sounds cliche, but probably the most important lesson I learned is how to work as a member of a team, kind of work on a committee, and then also break off and to do your own thing and learn in both ways. So I think it's important to have a good balance of seeking advice, but also working independently with your advisor. I think that's something that's going to be important. So I just wanted to give a special thanks. On the right, that's Ann Gatling. She's the faculty advisor for KDP, so we've worked a lot together. And then Jessica and Dan are kind of my co-advisors, so they've taught me a lot and given me these opportunities, which have been helpful throughout the year. So I just wanted to highlight them, and that's it.